The dictionary meaning of reality is, for example, according to this dictionary, I think it's Oxford, the state of things, at least this is one of the meaning, the state of things as they actually exist. Exist. In Urdu, we will say hakikat-e-wujudi, hakikat. That's what reality is, hakikat. The state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them. So by idealistic probably means whoever wrote this, idealistic, how they should exist. So that's different from how they are. I guess that, and notional mean, for example, notion is just concept. So for example, my pen as it exists, but my concept of my pen, for example, they both exist, but their existence is of different types. So what actually exists, like maybe concretely or outside, that's reality. What actually exists. That's one dictionary meaning. The state or quality of having existence or substance. That's just, in this second meaning, reality is just the equal existence, synonym of existence almost. So the first one, the state of things that they actually exist. We look at the examples given of that. A thing that is actually experienced or seen, especially when this is unpleasant. So that's the reality. Another example is the harsh realities of life in a farming communities. And the second meaning is a thing that exists in fact, having previously only existed in one's mind. Okay, this is the second one. So in my mind, there's a plan of going from place A to B, but when I actually go from A to B, then so this is plan in my, but this movement or this plan actually exists, I guess. So a thing that exists in fact, the reality here is almost synonymous to factual, having previously only existed in one's mind, having previously only existed in one's mind. The quality of being life. So we want to make the dream a reality. So your dream house. So you dream about a certain house and you buy a house and you renovate it. So that's the actual house. So that's one thing as another meaning of reality. The quality of being lifelike, the reality of some things, some details, lifelike. More the state or quality of having existence or substance. Youth when death has no reality. They don't think death is actually going to happen. And obviously more recent use of reality is against virtual. So reality TV, a reality show. That's one use. So reality also is contrasted with virtuality, virtual, like online or on the web, etc. Now, Oxford Dictionary also gives this philosophical meaning, at least one of it. Philosophy, existence that is absolute. No, what absolute is? self-sufficient or objective. So it can be anything, absolute, self-sufficient, or objective. Obviously, self-sufficient is a relative term always, because really self-sufficient things, probably if they exist, like God is really self-sufficient. Everything is else is not self-sufficient. But when we say chair is self-sufficient, we just say self-sufficient in a relative terms, that it is self-sufficient in a way in which color of the chair is not self-sufficient. Color cannot exist on its own, at least not according to most philosophers. But chair can exist on its own. So the existence, color exists and chair exists, but chair's existence is self-sufficient in a way in which color's existence is not self-sufficient. And objective is used in contrast to subjective. So there are a lot of, or subject to human decisions or conventions. So there are certain things which are subjective, that is subject to human. So we construct maybe in organization. So organization is in a way it's a strange example, but subjective in a way in which chair is not subjective, I guess, or chair is subjective in a way in which mountains are not subjective. Chair depends on human planning, etc. I don't know what this. So objective and not subject to human decisions or conventions. So in that sense, social customs are subjective. So this is one way of understanding subjective. Subjective have many, in a way in which, for example, water is not subjective. So water is has objective reality in a way in which human, or my thoughts, for example, doesn't have objective. So because they depend on my thinking, etc. Okay, so now the word reality in English comes from Latin, I think. Yeah, according to reality is a word with Latin pedigree. So reality, it comes from realis, which means relating. So it's I think it must have some. I'm not a Latinist, but it looks like it has some relation with res. Meaning res means things, yeah. Things. So realis mean related to things. So that also tells you it's a very the conception of reality is very thing centered. So anything which is not a thing or ding is not reality. In this, at least, the etymological sense, and from there in English it comes real. And in Urdu, Arabic, Persian, reality is obviously hakikat, which is not a thing, because hakikat is related to haq. And as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-haq. So haq is also truth in a way. Something, but haq also has a meaning of something factual. Factual doesn't need to be a thing, it can be anything. Anything. In Arabic, we have haqiqat. Obviously, it's an Arabic word which comes to Urdu. Obviously, both in Urdu, Farsi, Urdu and Farsi, it's the same thing, really. In this context, in Arabic, waqi' or waqi' in Arabic, and waqi'a in Urdu and Persian, which can mean event, but it can also mean waqi', mean what, the fact. واقع can mean the fact, or حقيقة. الواقع. So in English we say in reality. Yeah. In Arabic we say في الواقع. In fact, in Urdu, في الواقع is used as it is. And in fact, one of the Mauritanian scholars has said something like inkarul waqai or inkarul waqai. So waqai is plural of waqi. Inkarul waqai mahalu. In some way, it is impossible to deny the reality or the facts. So generally people think that impossibility and possibility only relates to logical things or logical propositions. But here there's the concept of factual possibility and impossibility. For example, if you want to pass through a wall, you can't deny that wall exists. I mean, you might deny, but if you try to pass through it, it will tell you that it exists. So in that sense, inkarul waqai mahal. So في الواقع in reality is used in Urdu, used in في الواقع is used in Arabic, obviously, and obviously in في الواقع, I'm sure in classical Persian we use it. I don't know much about current Persian usage in Iran or Afghanistan or Tajikistan. So when I talk about Persian, that's like Persian of Imam Ghazali or Sadi, which we have a tradition of in the subcontinent. In Turkish, for example, just I do this for fun. I don't have any expertise in this. It's just my they call novice linguist. In Turkish, they say gerçeklik. My Turkish pronunciation is not very good. Gerçeklik. Lik is just what we haqi. So that's ta hakikat. What ta does in Turkish is done by lik here. And the real word for the real or the fact is gerçek. Now, I don't know its etymology, but the dictionary I have is, I mean, I can look at, if I had to, I can look at other books, but I'm just trying to rely on my intuition. So it sounds to me, it's the gerçek, gerçe, Persian gerçe. Or in Urdu we will say agarche, or garche we say in Urdu too. And apparently in Ottoman Turkish they have gerçek. Now I don't remember, but this if this gaf in, this must be gaf in Ottoman. I'm not sure. I would have to look at my books. So it seems like gerçek means garche, or which can mean in fact garche. Gerçe, gerçe. Okay, I think that's enough of linguistic. Now let's go back to the text. So when he's saying that the unreality of movement means the